It's 11:30 p.m. It's bedtime for Taupolabdha. This is the time when Taupolabdha draws pictures amid listening to interesting stories read out by his father. I am now going to read out an interesting story called Hansel and Gretel. A poor woodcutter lived with his cruel wife and little children, Hansel and Gretel. The woodcutter loved his children very much. One day, his wife forced him to leave the children in the forest. Hansel somehow came to know about the decision of his parents. He went outside and filled his pockets with small pebbles. The next day, the family set out for the forest. Reaching the forest, the parents said to them, "Stay here, we'll return soon. We are going beyond to chop wood." But they never returned. Fortunately, Hansel had dropped the pebbles along the path. He took the hand of his sister, and by nightfall the children had found their way home. Seeing them back at the entrance, the wife of the woodcutter was amazed. She said to her husband, "We'll go deeper into the forest. They will be unable to find their way back." This time, Hansel couldn't collect pebbles. The next morning, they all walked into the forest. Hansel dropped breadcrumbs served for breakfast along the path. Hansel and Gretel were feeling very tired. Soon they fell asleep. After leaving them in the forest, the woodcutter and his wife returned home. The children tried to find the way home, but the breadcrumbs were seen nowhere. The birds had eaten them. Suddenly, the children saw a hut. The hut was made of gingerbread. Its roof and door were made of cake and chocolate, respectively. They knocked at the door, and an old woman, who was a witch, came out of the hut. She invited the children to share her meal. In fact, she wanted to eat them both. After their dinner, the children fell asleep. When Hansel woke up, he found himself shut in a cave. He yelled at her sister Gretel for help. It was then that they realized that the old woman was a witch. Witches with red eyes can't see properly. She was waiting for Gretel. She was waiting for Hansel to put on flesh. She asked him to put his finger out to find whether he was fat. The clever boy held out a piece of wood for her to touch. The witch said, "You are too skinny to make a good dinner." Finally, the witch lost her patience. She decided to eat Gretel. She wanted to roast her alive in an oven. When the witch got near the oven, Gretel pushed her into the oven. Then she slammed its door shut. The witch was burnt to ashes. Gretel freed his brother from the cage after breaking its door. The children felt themselves to be safe. Inside the hut, the children discovered a sack filled with gold coins and diamonds. They decided to return home. They filled their pockets with the jewels. On the way, they discovered a magical lake where two swans were gliding over the water surface. They crossed the lake sitting on the back of the swans. When they arrived home, the woodcutter wept with joy for reunion with his children. His cruel wife had already died. Hansel and Gretel and their father lived happily ever after. Baba, have you listened to the story with attention?